Dr. Amanda with Straightsmile Solutions, straightsmilesolutions.com. Let's talk about how to pick the right appliance for your phase one or comprehensive case. And sometimes you know that you're going to need an appliance. You can't just do this case only with braces, or you can't just do this case only with Invisalign. Why might you need an appliance? Well, you definitely should go dig into my phase one YouTube channel, phase one playlist within the YouTube channel. It's on the homepage of the YouTube channel. Or you can go to my website, Straightsmile Solutions. We also have a course for phase one. It's the same thing as the YouTube videos. It just has CE and it's put in a more logical order, if that makes sense. Obviously with YouTube, they shuffle and they do weird things, so I can't put it in the right order. So the course is about $40 to $44 per CE unit. You have a year to finish the course. And it just trims out all the repetitive nonsense that YouTube, and I don't think there's ads in the course either. So just wanted to let you know that is there. And if you don't know how to pick the right appliance, you definitely should consider either watching all the videos in the YouTube channel or taking the course. So that being said, I'm gonna assume you've either already watched my videos or taken my course as I dig into this a little bit more. Not gonna be repeating things. Way too much information here. So how do you know if you need an appliance? Well, obviously, you have to understand orthodontics. You have to know what things are possible and what things are not with just braces or just aligners. And obviously, AP correction is not going to be too possible. Midline correction may not be so great. Vertical correction may not be so great, depending on what type of vertical correction you're looking for. And transverse correction, airway improvement, might not be so great either. So if you have a major problem, you're probably going to need an appliance. Now, I'm going to tell you this again, and this is what they told us at our Invisalign course 2 weeks ago that I went to, this advanced Invisalign course. Just because the Clin Check says it can happen doesn't mean it can happen. And this, obviously this course was all orthodontists, and we were kind of laughing. He was like, haha, yeah. We know this, right? But the problem is, in these engines and in these primary care groups, they're not saying that. And so you guys are thinking, well, this can happen. The AI says it can happen. Yeah, no. Half to 2/3, in my opinion, of the Clin Checks I see, they might be able to happen, but you have to do it a different way to get there more predictably. So remember, Invisalign or Align Technology is not an orthodontist. They are a lab. You have to tell them how to make the plan. They will take your directions and try to make it happen, but they're not promising you it's going to happen. That they cannot do that. That would be dictating treatment. And you guys are confused if you don't think that you guys have to tell them how to do it or if it's possible. So you don't want to get yourself stuck on a case that you can't get yourself out of, and you might make them worse, right? So I really strongly suggest that every single primary care dentist works with an orthodontist on their first 30, 40, 50, 100 cases. And not somebody who is employed at the aligner company. That is a mistake. Again, my opinion. Pick someone who's independent that has no benefit to you selling this case. They will just let you know how to do it right and to do it predictably, what the pros and cons are, and they'll educate you on how to get better outcomes on your cases. Okay, so that being said, that was my overarching introduction. There are many different options for class 2. There are many different options for class 3. If you want to understand more what the options are, you can go into my YouTube channel and search by keyword. Class 2, kids. Just do that. Class 3, kids. Kids versus adults, because kids are going to be different than adults because they're growing versus non-growing. So look through all that content that we have. So some options for class 2 correction might be your MAOB, your MA, your Carriere, or your motion, whatever you want to call it, your class 2 elastics, or a posterior sagittal. This is not all the options. These are some of the options. Oh, twin block, that would be another option, right? Herbst, all those little jumper things, distalizers, stuff like that. There's all kind of in this same land. So the question is, with your class 2 correction, do you want to distalize the upper molars? Do you want to push things back, therefore making the tongue space potentially smaller, making the airway potentially smaller? Sometimes that's okay. If they're really flared and they're really bimax and they can't close their lips over their teeth, well then fabulous. We probably, obviously do a myo consult or do in-house myo consult and make sure there's space for that tongue. But if the arches are plenty wide and you've got space for it, and they can't, they're mouth breathing because they can't get their lips over their teeth, well then heck yeah, go for the distalization, go for the posterior sagittal, go for the elastics, go for the Carriere, go for the motion. What if we have a weak lower chin? There's only one chin. What if we have a weak lower third of the face or a weak chin, What if the neck just kind of blends into the face? Well, then we don't want to do that. What if we have an obtuse nasal and labial angle already? Well, then we don't want to do that, right? Then we want to grow the lower jaw. We want to bring the lower jaw forward. We want to open the airway. In that case, we're going to consider MAOB. Also your Maras and your herps. These are things I don't help you with just because of the messiness of them. But I'm bringing it up. These are still options, So you have to pick the right appliance. And remember, an anterior sagittal, let's talk about class 3. We just talked about class 2. Class 3, you got your face mac, you got your tandem, maybe your class 3 forceps. I don't use all these things. Or your anterior sagittal. Anterior sagittal, all it's doing is correcting an anterior crossbite where your upper teeth are retroclined, but you're not skeletally class 3, you're skeletally class 1, just the front teeth are just angled back. That's what the anterior sagittal is for. The face mac is a skeletal correction. This is a dental correction, skeletal, dental correction. Two different things. You have to have your ceph. You have to know the angulation of the teeth. You have to know all that stuff. You have to know what your maxilla position is. You have to know what your mandible position is. Obviously, if we have a case that's, retrognathic maxilla, well then heck no, I don't want to do anterior sagittal because we're not improving the airway. We're not improving the position of the maxilla. We're not making the face look better. No, I don't just want to lean the teeth. I don't want to do a dental correction. I want to do a skeletal correction if I still can. So all these things have to be taken into account before you pick the right appliance for the case. All right, thanks.